No, Eklavi, we cannot say RIP so soon. We'll have to wait for grid view.
Yes, sir.
It may start working. Shubham,
Yes, sir.
perhaps the attendance is visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. No, no. First, I'll have to arrange that in alphabetical order. Then only you can check your names. Hmm. Take your names.
Sir,
If
my
you
name
can't
is
find
not
it,
there.
tell your name better.
Sir, Soumya.
Soumya. Is it Soumya? Yeah, it is Soumya. SOM. What is your spelling? Let
SOM
me know.
by SOM by
Okay, okay, okay. I'll make
Sir,
it like
my
that.
name is
Soumya.
not there.
सौम्या आगे
Kumari.
पूरा बोला करो ना बेटा.
Soumya Kumari.
हाँ. Who else?
Sir, my name is Sir Shubhi Singh.
Anyone else?
Sir, Simon Jain.
Spell it once again.
Sir, Ramya Jain.
Ramya Jain.
Sir, Suruchi Verma.
Sir Sakshi Prajapati.
So many names.
Sir Abhishek Jain.
Sir, Vedika Sahu.
Okay.
Sir, Simon Jain.
Hmm?
Simon Jain.
Simon Jain.
सर एक पीयूष हल्दर भी बोल रहा है चैट में.
मैं देख लेता हूँ चैट में. What does it mean? PC में हूँ.
सर वो डेस्कटॉप से देख रहा है शायद.
Okay. पीयूष हल्दर. Fine. So now as attendance is done, almost everyone, not everyone, but 50 have joined. So we can begin with the class now. What are we doing? Can somebody remind me?
सर आज
The 100 dresses.
Okay, we started the 100 dresses.
The 100.
Okay, okay,
And
fine.
Mr. Patel, you were also going to distribute the chapters to us, to assign them.
Of supplementary.
Chapter
Okay,
assignment.
okay, fine. Have we started the 100 dresses? If we have not started, then we'll go with the assignment. And if we have already started, then we shall first finish this lesson.
Sir, we started the
Sir, we
introduction part.
started.
We started.
Sir,
The
we have
introduction.
done the outline, but not the reading.
Okay, okay. We have started. That means we should carry on with that lesson first. Let us finish it because what I remember is that I have shown the summary outline of that
Yes,
story
sir.
that day. And because you are aware of what is there in the story, all the outline, all the backdrop has been discussed that day. So I think we should finish that lesson first. It won't take much time. I'm trying to share with you, not this, the screen of Tata Class Edge. If they have provided some stuff. Which class is this? 10th.
Then
If there is some stuff, we'll go through that once. Where is that? Achha, these are poems. Chapter list. Prose. Can you see the screen, Eklavya?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This Tata Class Edge page is visible.
Yes, sir. It is visible.
Okay, okay, fine. So now let us see what have they given in the video part. Let me know if the video is audible. If it is not audible, Eklavya can inform me.
Yes, sir.
El Soresta was an American children's author. She was born
sir,
as
echo
Sir,
हो रहा
आपका
है.
सर
माइक
echo
बहुत म्यूट
हो रहा है.
Echo हो
सर
रहा
आप
है.
हमें
in West Haven, Connecticut. She worked as a children's librarian until 1941. Her book, Ginger Pie, published in 1951, earned her the Newbery Medal. Some of her other notable works include The Moffats, The Middle Moffat, Rufus M., The 100 Dresses, Pinkie Pie, and the Moffat Museum. She received the Pratt Institute Alumni Medal in 1968 and was nominated for the Laura Ingalls Wilder Award in 1970. The story 100 Dresses 1 is a sensitive account of a young girl named Wanda who was bullied and humiliated by her classmates. Here is the summary of the story 100 Dresses 1 by Elso Esther. On Monday, Wanda Petronsky was not in her class seat, but nobody noticed her absence. She usually sat in the corner of room 13, which housed the rough boys. These boys did not score high marks, were the loudest, and sat in the dirtiest section of the room. Wanda was a quiet girl without any friends. She came from Boggin Street, which was the poorest neighborhood in the town. She sat in the corner of room 13, overlooked by everyone. The only time anyone noticed Wanda was after school hours, when they made fun of Wanda. On Wednesday, Peggy and Maddie noticed that Wanda was not in class. The reason they noticed Wanda's absence was because she made them late to class. Peggy was the most popular girl in school, and Maddie was her closest friend. Usually, they waited for Wanda so they could make fun of her. No one in room 13 had a name like Wanda. Wanda came to school alone and wore a faded blue dress. Though her dress was clean, it was wrinkled and loose. Peggy, outwardly polite, would ask Wanda how many dresses she had in her closet. Wanda would reply she had 100 dresses, all made up of silk and velvet. They would let her go and then laugh behind her back. They didn't believe that Wanda, who wore a faded blue dress, had 100 dresses. They would also ask her how many shoes she had. Wanda would reply she had 60 pairs of shoes. The girls again did not believe her, so they would ask Wanda if they were all the same color. Wanda would reply that they were all different colors. Peggy was not a cruel girl. She did not believe that Wanda had 100 dresses and therefore felt justified in making fun of Wanda. Maddie, however, did not feel good about teasing Wanda. Sometimes when Peggy politely mocked Wanda, Maddie would stay quiet. So she was glad when Wanda did not come to school that day. While Maddie worked on an arithmetic problem, she thought about writing a note to Peggy asking her to stop this game. But Maddie was afraid. She imagined how she would feel if Peggy told everyone that she was wearing Peggy's old dress. So she tore the note and hoped Peggy would stop making fun of Wanda. Peggy was the most popular girl in the school, while Wanda was a girl from the poorest part of the town who did not have any friends. Thinking of Wanda's dresses, Maddie thought of the drawing and coloring contest. For girls, the contest was about drawing dresses, and for boys, designing motorboats. She knew Peggy would win the contest since Peggy could draw very well. The next day it was raining, so Peggy and Maddie ran straight to school without waiting for Wanda. Maddie wished Peggy good luck and hoped she would win the contest. When they entered the classroom, they were dazzled by the drawings that had been put up all over the classroom. Miss Mason, the teacher, waited until all the students were gathered in the classroom. Then she announced the winner for the boys' contest. She then informed the class that while most of the girls submitted 1 or 2 drawings, one girl from the class had drawn pictures of 100 dresses. She then happily announced that Wanda Petronsky was the winner of the girls' contest. Though Wanda was not present that day, Miss Mason hoped she would be in class tomorrow to collect the award. For now, Miss Mason asked her students to take a walk around class and admire Wanda's drawings. Maddie, looking around, recognized some of the drawings and whispered excitedly to Peggy, Maddie realized that all the drawings were made by Wanda.
Is the story clear once again?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Means
Yes,
first
sir.
Yes, sir.
half of the story. We have watched 100 Dresses Part 1. Part 2 is yet to be seen. But this much is clear, I believe. Now I'll share the lesson with you, and I would expect some of you to quickly read it because story has been discussed in the previous class also. Today also you have seen this video that tells us all about it. So we shall read it quickly, and if ever you find anything anywhere little difficult to understand any statement or anything else, then we shall discuss that. Okay? So I would like to see how many of you would start reading it. How many of you want to read the lesson?
Sir,
I'll tell
me.
your names in turn by turn, one by one. Okay, so first hand was seen of Anushka Saxena. Anushka will start and then Shreya. After Anushka, Shreya will read. And then Priyanshi Pachori is also raising hand. And I cannot see all because the grid view is not supporting. This girl, Sakshi Prajapati. Okay. So after Priyanshi, Sakshi will read and then Shubham Bhargav will read. If anyone else wants to read, you can just write I in the comment box. And in the order you write I, you will read. Because once I share screen, I will not be able to see you. Okay, then Eklavya will read. After Eklavya, Shrishti. After Srishti, Harshit Jain, and then Sachin Meena, and then Abhishek Bhargav. Fine. No more needed. So I'm sharing the page, the Tia afterwards, if time allows. Okay. From here we need to begin.
Yes,
Anushka,
sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
if this is the right page, start reading from here. Shall
Today.
I increase the size? Shall I zoom it?
No, sir, I have the
Okay,
book.
fine.
Today, Monday, Wanda Petronsky was not in her seat, but nobody, not even Peggy and Madeline, the girls who started all the fun, noticed her absence. Usually, Wanda sat in the seat next to the last seat in the last row in room 13. She sat in the corner of the room where the rough boys who did not make good marks sat. The corner of the room where there was most scuffling of feet, most roars of laughter when anything funny was said, and most mud and dirt on the floor. Wanda did not sit there because she was rough and noisy. On the contrary, she was very quiet and rarely said anything at all. And nobody had ever heard her laugh out loud. Sometimes she twisted her mouth into a crude sort of smile, but that was all. Nobody knew exactly.
Okay, stop.
Okay, sir.
See, in these two paragraphs, we have seen the scene of the classroom, how it looked. There was a corner, the dirtiest corner of the classroom. Some not very good performers, such kind of boys, they used to sit in that corner. There was a seat meant for Vanda also. And then in the second paragraph, it is told that what kind of a girl Vanda was. She was quiet and she rarely said anything at all. Nobody had ever heard her laugh out loud. She never laughed loud. Leave loud laughing. She did not even laugh properly. Sometimes she twisted her mouth into a crooked sort of smile, but that was all. Did not ever laugh. She just smiled, and that too was a twisted mouth expression. So this is how she behaved. This we have seen in these two paragraphs. Now, who was next to read?
Sir, I.
Okay, so whoever reads will stop here. I have put a green mark.
Okay, sir. Nobody knew why Wanda sat in that seat, unless it was because she came all the way from Buggins Heights and her feet were usually caked with dry mud. But no one really thought much about Wanda Petronsky. Only she sat in the corner of the room. The time when they thought about Wanda was outside of school hours, at noon time, when they were coming back to school, or in the morning early before the school began, when groups of two or three or even more would be talking and laughing on their way to the schoolyard. Then, sometimes, they waited for Wanda to make fun to have fun with her.
Okay. Next.
Yes, sir. The next day, Tuesday, Wanda was not in school either, and nobody noticed her absence again. But on Wednesday, Peggy and Maddie, who sat down front with other children who got good marks and who didn't crack track in the whole lot of mud, did notice Wanda wasn't there. Peggy was the most popular girl in school. She was pretty. She had many pretty clothes, and her hair was curly. Maddie was her closest friend. The reason Peggy and Maddie noticed Wanda's absence was because Wanda had made them late to school. They had waited for Wanda to have some fun with her, and just hadn't come. They often waited for Wanda Petronsky to have fun with her.
Okay. See, here it is told that at school, whenever they were out for some time or before coming to school, means they reached the school, but before their classes began, this was the time when Peggy and her friend Maddie and other girls they waited for Wanda because they wanted to make fun of her. They wanted to have fun with her. And what kind of fun it was, we'll see afterwards, though we have already seen in the video. But here in the lesson, we'll see it afterwards. They had fun with her. And to have fun with her, they waited for her. One day, what happens that she was absent and nobody noticed. Because if a student is very active, very talkative, very sort of somebody who participates in the activities of the class, this kind of children are noticed if they are not in the class. But somebody who sits silently all the time, they do not react on anything, they do not participate in anything, they do not talk, they hardly talk to anyone. Such children, even if they are absent, they are not noticed. So this has happened that day, though she was absent. Only Peggy and Maddie noticed that she was absent. And why could they notice? Because it was their habit, it was their routine to wait for her outside the school. And because they were waiting for her that day, she did not come, so they kept waiting. And because of this reason, they were little late. That's why they were aware of this thing that Vanda was absent that day. Okay. Yes, who is next?
Sir, may I read the oral comprehension check also?
I thought we'll do it at last, but okay, because you have asked, so you can
Okay, sir.
ask questions. Means just read questions. These are simple questions based on the information that we have got in the previous part. Read it.
Okay, sir. First, where in the classroom does Wanda sit and why? Second, where does Wanda live? What kind of a place do you think it is? When and why do Peggy and Maddie notice Wanda's absence? What do you think to have fun with her means?
Okay, stop.
Wanda,
Wait. Now, because you have read these questions, so I want somebody to answer these questions also. Is there anyone who can answer all four of these?
Sir, can I answer?
Tell your name first.
Shreya.
So may I answer?
Shreya first.
So
Okay.
may I answer?
No, let Shreya try and then I'll allow
So
others.
Priyanshi.
So she sat in the corner of the room because she sat in the corner of the room where usually the bad boys sat, and they didn't score very good marks because she had no friends, and if and everyone used to make fun of her. That's why she always thought of being alone.
And no one else in the class showed any interest in sitting with her,
Yes, sir.
making friendship with her, and that's why she had to sit on the seat that was left, and it was the last seat that was left for her.
Hmm.
Okay, this made her sit in that last corner. Yes, next question.
So, Vonda lived in the Bogging Street, and in this chapter, Bogging
Place
Street,
called Goggins Height.
sorry, Boggings Height. She lived in Boggings Height, and here it is given that Boggings Height is the very poorest place in that town where she lives.
Yes.
Means it is thought that whoever comes from that place
One
is
more
a
thing.
poor
One
one.
more thing. One more thing. So yes, it was a poor locality, rather the poorest locality in that town, as you said. Second
Yes,
thing
sir.
is, second thing is, somewhere it was mentioned. I have marked also. If you see here, see, I have marked. Where did I mark? Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, usually caked with dry mud. What does this suggest? Her
Dirty.
feet were usually. It was a dirty, muddy
That
sort of
the
place.
place where she lived.
Huh. So from there when she came, so that mud could be seen, that dry mud could be seen on her feet. So it was such a place which was not properly constructed, properly maintained, properly cleaned. There was mud and she had to come across that mud. And by the time she reaches school, that mud was dried on her feet. And so dry mud cake could be seen on her feet. Okay. Chalo, next question.
Peggy and Maddie noticed Wanda's absence because uh, on Wednesday they noticed that she was absent because they were always waiting for her, and that day she didn't came, and so they were little late. That's why they noticed that Wanda was absent that day.
Yes, next question.
To have fun with her here means that they when Wanda comes, they always tease her with her clothes or with her belongings or whatever she wears. They always tease her how many clothes do you have, how many shoes
Okay,
do you have.
having fun with her simply means teasing her,
They are teasing.
laughing at her, because
Hmm.
by this time in the lesson that we have gone through, we have not seen how did they tease. We can
Hmm.
simply understand that they had a habit of teasing her. They had a habit of making fun of her. Okay. Later on, we shall see that they talked about her dresses and talked about her shoes because you have already seen the videos or you have already read the lesson, so you can tell. But because this is comprehension check and the questions here are all based on what you have gone through, what you have read in this lesson by now. Okay. So,
Okay, sir.
keeping that in mind, we cannot say what was the question they asked or how did they make fun. We can simply say they made fun, they laughed at her, they teased her. Okay. Yes, now start reading.
Wanda Petronsky, most of the children in room 13 didn't have names like that. They had names easy to say, like Thomas, Smith, or Ellen. There was one boy named Bounce, Willie Bounce, and people thought that was fun, but not fun in the same way that Petronsky was. Wanda didn't have any friends. She came to school alone and went home alone. She always wore a faded blue dress that didn't hang right. It was clean, but it looked as though it had never been ironed properly. She didn't have any friends, but a lot of girls talked to her. Sometimes they surrounded her in the schoolyard as she stood watching the little girls play hopscotch on the worn hard ground. Wanda, Peggy, would you say in a most courteous manner as though she were talking to Miss Mason? Wanda, she had say she would say giving one of her
She would
she
say.
would say giving one of her friends a nudge. Tell us, how many dresses did you say you had hanging up in your closet?
Okay.
A hundred.
Here, I would like to tell you one thing. This name. What is this name? Can somebody tell?
Thomas.
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 Carry on. Others also.
Smith or Allen.
No, no.
Smith
Only
and
this
Aaron.
name. Only this name that I have highlighted.
Thomas.
Thomas. Thomas.
Thomas.
Thomas.
Name of
Thomas.
Thomas.
Okay. It is Thomas.
Thomas.
Thomas. Don't say Thomas. Okay. Though it is TH, it should be pronounced as th, but we pronounce it as ch. So pronounce this name as Thomas. Okay. Now, uh, her name or her second name, her surname Petronsky was very funny name for them. We can understand this. We have discussed this yesterday. She always wore a faded blue dress that didn't hang right. Faded blue dress means old dress, discolored. The color was fading. Okay. Second thing, didn't hang right. Didn't. Achha, it's given here. It's given here. You can see this. So didn't hang right means the fitting was not perfect for her. This means this probably did not belong to her. It was a borrowed dress. It did not fit very nicely, very properly to her. Now this tells us about her condition, her poverty. But at the same time, this thing tells us that what kind of a person she was. Though she had only one dress, though it was old, though it was not properly fitting, but she was a girl who kept it clean every time. She washed it and she wore that dress, though it was one only dress, she wore it clean every time. But it looked as though it had never been ironed properly. If not been ironed properly means probably they could not afford to iron it, or probably they did not have an iron at home to press it properly. She didn't have any friends, but a lot of girls talked to her. Girls talked to her, but there wasn't anybody who she can say that she is her friend. Sometimes they surrounded her in the schoolyard as she stood watching the little girls play hopscotch. The girl, when she was reading it, she stammered a little bit here. This is hopscotch. What is hopscotch?
Langdi.
Okay. Perhaps you would have drawn something like this on the ground with the pieces of chalk stolen from school and would definitely have played in this. Have you done this, girls?
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
Yes,
So
sir.
Yes,
the
sir.
game that you played here, is hopscotch? Perhaps number of boxes I have drawn here is not right.
8.
10 are there.
Yes, there are 10 boxes. Whatever. So girls played this and she watched them playing. That's it. Now, Peggy would say, when she comes, when they notice that she is there, Peggy used to approach her along with other friends and in most courteous way, very nicely, very politely, very properly, she asked her as though she were talking to Miss Mason. And who is this Miss Mason?
Teacher who teach them.
Yes, Miss
Taught them,
Mason is
sorry.
their teacher. So Peggy talked to Wanda as if she was talking to Miss Mason or to their teacher. In such a nice way, she talked to Wanda. And what would she ask her? She would say, giving one of her friends a nudge. Giving a friend a nudge, what does it mean? It's given here. Giving a little small, gentle push somewhere in the waist region, using your elbow. And when you do this, what do you mean? You are informing your friend that yes, I'm going to make fun of the person I'm talking to. Okay, so this was done intentionally. This question was asked deliberately to answer the way she always answered, and this made them laugh. So, what was the question? She says, how many dresses did you say you had hanging up in your closet? And then this girl, Vanda, very simply answers 100. 100? Exclaim all the little girls incredulously, and incredulously means not believing. Okay, and the little ones would stop playing hopscotch and listen. Everybody will stop doing whatever they were doing and they will listen to this girl speaking that she has 100 dresses. Yeah, 100. All lined up, said Vanda. Then her thin lips drew together in silence. What are they like? What kind of dresses they are? All silk, I bet, said Peggy. Yeah, all silk, all colors, velvet too. Yeah, velvet too, 100 dresses. Vanda would repeat stolidly. Now, what is stolidly? Yes, it is given. Having no feelings. All lined up in my closet. Then they would let her go. And then, before she had gone very far, they couldn't help bursting into shrieks and peals of laughter. They laughed very loudly and in a specific way as they wanted to make fun of the girl before she goes very far away. Means they wanted her to listen that they were all laughing and they are laughing at her only. 100 dresses, obviously. The only dress Vanda had was the blue one she wore every day. So, why did she say she had 100? What a story. How many shoes did you say you had? 60 pairs, all lined up in my closet. Cries of exaggerated politeness greeted this. All alike. Oh no, every pair is different. All colors, all lined up. So these were the two questions they regularly asked, and every time she had the same answer. She has 100 dresses, all colors, all silks, some velvet too, all colors, all lined up in her closet, and then 60 pairs of shoes, different types of shoes and all different colors. The shoes are also there in her closet. This was the regular question and this was the regular answer. Okay, because it is 44, so it's time to stop. I'm putting a mark here. We shall start from here tomorrow in the next class. I hope this much is clear.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now you can do one thing,
Yes.
because it is such a nice and interesting story and a story of a girl of students of almost your age, of almost your age. And this is the reason why this story has been kept here for your class. So if you read it, you will understand because there is nothing very difficult. Okay. So I believe you can finish reading this. Tomorrow is Saturday, and then Sunday. We shall have class on Monday, perhaps. So in these 2 days, I'll be very happy if you could finish this story, the two parts of the story at home, so that we'll be going through it very quickly here in the class. And then, because you have already read it, so you will enjoy it in the class. Got it? Any question? Anything to say or ask?
No.
Okay, then it's time to say Sairam.
Madam, sir.
Sairam.
No, sir.
Start giving the
Silence, sir.
Sairam,
Silence,
sir.
sir.
Sairam, sir.